the pop screen. We've got to screen all the popping. Hey guys, my name is Matt Workman, and this is Cinematography Database Show, and today we're going to be breaking down the cinematography of Taylor Swift Out of the Woods. Now, first of all, I owe a lot of my early success and momentum to Taylor Swift because I did a breakdown of one of her music videos. I'm gonna fix the pop screen. That's pretty good. Back in the day, one that Jeff Cronenweth shot, and that was the first kind of big break for Cinematography Database. I wrote a really long blog post, and I did what I basically do in these videos, but in blog post form. And a lot of people got a hold of it, and I got in contact with a lot of great press people, and it was really good. So I owe a lot to Taylor Swift. So this is my second Taylor Swift breakdown. I think actually I've probably done more, but this is I just wanted to say that I owe a lot to Taylor Swift and the BTS crew that follow her around because they do amazing BTS work. This is a music video that's directed by Joseph Kahn, and Joseph's been killing it with Taylor Swift this year. I forget the name of her album. If you buy albums, go buy Taylor Swift's album. I feel like I should say that on this video. And they have been just doing back-to-back-to-back killer music videos, and this one is no different. And Joseph Kahn's longtime collaborator and cinematographer is Chris Probst, and Chris Probst is signed to Artistry, so another Artistry DP. Artistry is pretty strong these days. They've got a lot of great DPs. Definitely got to get them on the podcast and interview some of those agents and DPs as well. So we're going to break down this music video, and the last thing I want to say is that Joseph Kahn is the reason I got into the film industry. I can say that is that from MTV's Making the Video. If you rewind all the way back to when there was MTV playing music videos, music videos were so big. How big were they? They were so big that there were shows about making music videos, if you can believe that or not. It wasn't just like a YouTube video, though I love these breakdown YouTube videos or these behind-the-scenes videos. There used to be an entire show production around the making of music videos because they were that cool and they were that important to the artists. So Joseph Kahn, definitely a longtime influencer of my work. He kind of got me into the film industry, and he continues to do great work. So I'm really happy to break this down in this video. And then I don't know. I'm trying to put numbers to this, but also I'm not going to be showing clips of the music video or playing music because the music industry is really sensitive to that, and YouTube's right along with them. So if I show any clips of the music video or I play the music, this video gets flagged, and they actually let me play it, but they put ads on it, and they do things to it that I don't want. And I don't want to serve you guys ads in these videos. That's really not my intention. I don't make any money directly from these YouTube videos, so I don't want ads to be there to distract you and to be kind of annoying overall. So I just wanted to let you know that I'm going to change that about the format. So let's get right into it, guys. Maybe I have a Cinematography Database intro, maybe I don't. Okay, so the cinematography of Taylor Swift Out of the Woods. This music video rocks. It's super cool. So here is our slate picture, and proof that I just moved the screen. That's kind of a problem for me later when I edit this, but I'm gonna try not to do that again. Here's our director Joseph Kahn and our DP Chris Probst. And what to say about this? Not much. All I would say is that when you work on music videos that don't have sound, you don't get a very cool slate. You don't get that cool slate with the time code. You kind of get this old school Hollywood looking slate. I'm not sure I like it that much. So moving on to our first scene. The first scene is the beach. And what I want to say right now is that this music video was shot on the Red Weapon. Okay, so this is I think the first thing I think this was the first thing I saw that was shot on the Red Weapon. This came out a little bit ago. And it's pretty cool. And I'm pretty sure they shot 6K on the Red Weapon. I'm not sure 8K is available yet. But this is one of the first things that I saw on it, and I think it looks great. I didn't research like what lenses they used. I forgot. I actually have some photos from Facebook about when they were shooting this, and there's a really good Red user thread that you should check out on this subject. But anyway, yeah, this was the first thing I saw on the Red Weapon. And I also wanted to say before I get right into this is that this was colored by Dave Hussey at Company 3. And Dave Hussey, if you don't know that name, you must not be paying attention because Dave colors everything. He colors all the music videos, all the commercials, like all of them. He's like one of the best in the world of all time. And I'm going to try to get Dave on the podcast and maybe some other stuff in the future. So let's actually get into it. So here's the first scene on the beach, and really cool. And what I want to start calling out a little bit more on shots is the horizon. So if we look at this horizon, first of all, we're at a 2:4 to 1 aspect ratio. So this like skinny rectangle here, it's 2:4 to 1 roughly. I didn't measure it out, but that's, that's what it's trying to be. And this is a very peaceful shot, and he's divided the shot in half sky, half water, ground, by putting the horizon in the middle. And if you study film theory, which is somewhat useful, horizon has a lot to do with the mood and the atmosphere and the way that you're using composition. So this is a very tranquil, even setup. Horizon right down the middle, Taylor Swift right in the center. Really cool. Very blue scene overall. We've got a blue dress right here. Very frilly. That blue dress means a lot, actually, as you progress through the video. And then just kind of like this nice darker blue over here and a lighter blue where I guess the sun is up here. Though you can kind of see this by this shadow that I feel like the sun's coming from this way, so I'm not sure what's going on there. There's also some interesting stuff happening here where like this sand, there's this line here, and this is where I have to talk to Dave Hussey about what's going on in the color correction. This is a little bit blue and this is a little bit warm, but that's subtle stuff. And I actually have a ton of slides, so I need to move really quickly through this. Here's our next shot. Really beautiful, very shallow depth of field. We have this hard light on Taylor right here, very edge lit. Still a little bit dark on this side, and this is a very low contrast shot because if you look at this mountain and you look at her hair, the blacks have been lifted, and that's a color correction thing, and I'll have to do a little bit in Resolve to kind of talk about the words about lifting blacks and crushing blacks and protecting whites. There's words that cinematographers and colorists use, and I'll have to show you in Resolve what those things really equate to. The last thing I want to show here is that this is very, very, very shallow depth of field, very cool, very ethereal, very painterly, again, when we talk about painterly, but what's added here is some CG. And I actually have to flip to my notes. The people who do the VFX for Joseph Kahn, they're called Ingenuity Studios. That's what they're called. And they do, I think they've been working with Joseph for a long time. And they do amazing work. And what's great is that they have this relationship with Joseph. So Joseph can like kind of just come up with these concepts that are like not possible in real life, but then him and his VFX team at Ingenuity Studios, they can make it happen. And they've got this, like, I would imagine shorthand, and they can just make these amazing visuals that are so cohesive. And what's amazing about this music video and other music videos is that, or Joseph Kahn's music videos, that there's so many shots, there's so many setups, and all of them have VFX. And to me, that's incredible. Like, music videos are so difficult to make well these days, and Joseph Kahn, Ingenuity Studios, Chris Probst, they do amazing jobs. So awesome, guys. Here's the last shot I want to talk about. Same wide shot, same horizon, kind of in the middle. Sorry about the diagonal. And this kind of sets up the music video in the beginning. So we have this very almost, and this is still almost centered here. We have this very even composition happening, and it's kind of like this calm before the storm, because once the video starts, it gets crazy, and the camera work starts to reflect that. Really interesting. I don't know if this is real or not. Hexagon bokeh flare happening. Kind of like means that there's like water on the lens, or the lens has a little bit of schmutz on it. I think that might be fake. I don't really know. It looks real though. It's really good. And again, the visual effects of the trees. You have the CG trees, the reflections, also blurred out of focus. Good CG is good stuff, guys. Really, really good stuff. So let's move on to our first BTS still. I need to fly through this. Here is Joseph Kahn, the man, and here's Taylor Swift. And if you go and watch this breakdown from this music video, you'll notice that Taylor Swift is never comfortable because it's always freezing cold in New Zealand where they shot this, and they're making her like go through mud and snow and all this stuff. And she's a trooper. She really is an incredibly hard worker. So here is a cool shot of her walking. This is, I believe, from the intro where she's all messed up here. You can see all weathered, and you see that we have like a 20 by frame here. These are the stands, and this is a big 20 by diffusion, and you can see like this is hard sun, this is darker, soft, diffuse lighting. So she's walking under this big canopy of diffusion, but we still have this kind of like strong sun shadow or source. So we have this nice half light, still a lot of shape, but it's being diffused. So it's a little bit softer, less intense. This is a cool shot of Joseph Kahn operating. Again, red weapon, and it looks like we have some filters going on here. ND 1.5 maybe, a polarizer for the sky and maybe her skins. And I don't know what that is. UC, is that what that is? I don't know what the UC filter is. I would assume some sort of softening, like black mist type of thing. I'm not sure. You guys tell me in the comments if you know what that is. Or if Chris says it in the red thread. I didn't look it up. Here's a shot of Chris operating. Really, this is kind of the beauty for me of the red weapon and any of the red cameras is look how small this little thing is. It's great. I mean, the Alexa Mini is great too, but you know, Red's been doing the small form factor for a hot minute. And it looks like there's like a Bolt wireless and then kind of like a Preston MDR box and a battery on the back. So this isn't like the smallest setup in the world, but it's pretty compact. And look at it. No wires, no easy rig, just straight up walk-in handheld. I really like it. And the scene is going to be backlit, of course. Again, sorry, I got to kind of fly today. Here's a shot of a close-up of Taylor Swift here. And we see that the sun's coming from this side. And they're just diffusing it with a 4x4 diffusion. This is called Hollywooding it. When you just hold it, no stands. It's probably really windy. They're moving like really quickly. And I've actually worked on a Joseph Kahn and Chris Probst set that I'll talk about later, and they fly. They move so fast. And I think a lot of that is just the shorthand they have from working together for so long. They move so quickly. Like I can't convey to you how quickly they move through setups, how fast. I tried to follow them on a tech scout once and tried to, I was teching a different part of the shoot that they were on, and they fly. They move so quickly, and that's really impressive to me. And I think that's what you get after you work with a director and a DP work together for so long. You just know what you're talking about, and you just move through the scout and the shoot. Really cool stuff. Here's the last BTS still from this. Really strong sunlight here. You can see how shiny the sun looks. The sun just always looks good, man. If you can learn to work with the sun and just light with the sun, you're gonna do well. And knowing how to scout for the right type of sunlight, how to use the sunlight, how to subtly add bounce to it and that sort of stuff. I mean, you're gonna get really far. It's a really important thing to do. It's something I'm terrible at, honestly. I'm mostly a stage guy. Here's Joseph Kahn shooting Taylor Swift over the shoulder shot. There's a little bit of a 4x4 bounce here, just adding a little bit of fill light here. You can kind of see like on her shoulder blades and her arm. That's that return here, just so it's not so dark and gives a little bit of shape. Here's our BTS team. I guess they shot with SLRs, and the BTS, or maybe that's the C100 or something like that. I can't tell, but the BTS on this video, this is a BTS shot. Looks really good. I thought they were shooting epic for the BTS, which I've seen BTS crews do. They get down. So let me just change that. So that was the beach. Really kind of simple, but there was some cool stuff I wanted to call out there. So here we are moving into the wood setup. Now this is cool, right? So is this gonna let me do I didn't set up my Wacom to do the palette. Hold on one second, guys. I don't know if I'm gonna cut this out. Actually, maybe this is a good lesson. Quick little lesson on how to set up a Wacom tablet. Sorry for this. I really apologize for this. I got to change this from pan scroll to modifier to option. And that basically allows me, when I middle click on my Wacom over here, this guy, I can choose a color. So sorry that was such a kind of a screw up there. So here we are. Okay, great. Awesome. So we're coloring. So here is, why is it not choosing the right color? I have this all set up wrong today. I'm sorry, guys. I should have prepped this better. So here is our orange slash, it's orange. I'm just going to call it orange for now. What's happening in this wood setup, what he's kind of set up is that, I'll put it up here, is this warm against cool lighting. Okay, that didn't work. So over on this left side, we have a very warm, large light source, probably like a big HMI, like a 12K, I would guess. And I think I saw the 12Ks they were using. They weren't Area Maxes. They were kind of the older Airy HMI Fresnels. And so I would guess that this is like an 18K or 12K HMI with some orange on it. And that's going to shoot like light this way. And they've hazed out of this forest. Kind of most likely with like an Agaba, I think is what it's called. It's like this bazooka looking hazer, industrial size hazer. And I've done a shoot like this with woods about this size, and they hazed the whole thing, not the whole thing, but like the visible, frustum of what you can see on the camera. They were hazing that with just one person. And that's probably what they were using on this. And then on the contrast side over here, you actually see a little bit of skylight up here, back here, that this looks like it's actually daytime a little bit. Maybe twilighty, but I think in color correction they probably pushed this side blue and this side warm. And that's called color contrast. Is when you have those two opposing colors. And again, I apologize. My Wacom setup, I was working on something else in 3D this morning, and I had my Wacom settings set up incorrectly for Photoshop. So that's my bad. Here is another shot. Pretty cool. And we have this warm 18K with the haze. And then we have this, I'll put this up here. Then we also have this, can I grab it? Where is it? I'll just grab this for now. We have this blue light contrasting it. So color contrast with the orange and the blue. And we talked about this on the Roger Deakins Hail Caesar episode. When you haze and you backlight like this, you get atmospheric perspective where things in the background are low contrast. Like look at these rocks, very low contrast. And then things in the foreground, very high contrast. Man, this Wacom tablet's driving me crazy. Why is it selecting the wrong color? Anyway, this is a cool high angle shot. Joseph Kahn's camera work and Chris Probst's camera work, they're really dynamic, and there's some amazing camera angles, and what I like to call it is like kind of fresh, and they feel almost like comic booky or like kind of from like a manga or something like that. But he's just got some amazing camera work in here. I just wanted to pay tribute to that, and we're gonna actually break down 2 camera moves in this breakdown. Moving here, this is like the nicest portrait I think from the whole shoot. We achieved some amazing skin tones from the red weapon in combination with what Dave Hussey was doing in color correction. There's some subtle things happening in the skin tone here. Let me see if I can pick out some of these colors. Let's pick out like a lighter one. So there's her skin tone more or less, and the lips are a nice color, but there's also subtly some... there's a little bit of blue in there too, which is nice. And this is, again, the color contrast. And I never really understood this exactly as like why you would fill in with blue, but it actually gives you something to contrast the warm skin tones with. And if we look over here, man, this Wacom is driving me crazy. Again, we have this orange hair light, backlight, and then we have this, oh my God. This Wacom. We have some blue. So the orange and the blue color contrast, it works for close-ups as well. Moving on, I need to go so much faster. Here's a quick shot of Chris and the red weapon. O'Connor head here, 2060 probably. Just like pretty straightforward shot of Taylor Swift going through these like kind of art-directed vines. And let's see, moving on. This is... Oh, I left one of the layers on, sorry. Man, this is messy. God, this video is messy. I apologize. This is one of the cooler things that I've seen in the whole thing is that we have... I think this is JK operating like a movie. And for her running, I was going to make a series about this, how you light people when they're moving. But this is one way, is you actually move the light with the person. And what this looks like to me is a light panel clipped to a 4x4 beadboard and bouncing into it. And like that is like this, that is so clever. I've never seen anything like that before. Not this exactly. So a light panel bouncing into a beadboard, just run around the woods with the whole thing. It's a soft key light. That's like the biggest takeaway for me, because you could do that on any level shoot. So if you're walking down the street, you're doing the walk and talk, and you want to key them while they're walking, bounce a light panel into a beadboard and walk with the whole thing. That's genius. It's so simple. It's so simple. So here's another great behind the scenes still. Kind of probably a white backlight, like HMI again, and then a slightly warmer front light here. And this is very soft. And we have the camera down here, kind of a low mode Steadicam looking thing, perhaps. So here is, this is new for me in this video series. Here I'm going to try to break down a camera move, because this camera move, this is my favorite camera move I've seen this year. At least in a music video. I can even expand it to probably a commercial. I think this is the coolest shot. It's just awesome. So let's do this. Here's Taylor Swift, and she is, this whole video is kind of like, there's like 2 parts of her, sort of, you know. So she's frame right. Let's get the language on point here. So she is frame right looking frame left, and she's got this warm light on her again, in this orange backlight happening. And then what happens is she starts to turn, she goes like this, and she starts to turn this way, and the camera pans with her. So there's her turning, and then now over here we're starting to see she's keyed, or at least edge lit, with a blue light. And this is where it lands. So she goes like this, and the camera pans with her. It's really cool. You have to watch it in the actual video. I can't play the clips of the video because, again, this video gets flagged. And then after they do that move, it racks focus to the background, and there's like wolves looking at her. I mean, that's a cool shot, especially for a music video. I don't do that on my music videos. And it's what's also important is that you could do that shot on any budget. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, they have not CG, they have green screen Compton wolves in the background. It's a big backlit forest, a lot of lights, red weapon. But you could do this with an SLR and it would look great. It's more about like that thought to do this shot. This is not a shot that you see every day. I'm going to have to name this shot. I'm going to think of a name throughout this presentation. And that's that shot. That is so cool. I love it. Still not moving fast enough. Here is them doing a BTS of that shot. So here's her looking left with the edge light. Must have been color correction to make that light warm, because this is looking pretty white here. Dave Hussey and Taylor Swift and Joseph Kahn and Ingenuity. You guys are doing clever stuff. And then here they are as she looks to the right. So the key light, the backlight actually was the all daylight, and then they did it in color correction. It looks like for that color shift. I see what you guys are doing. I see what you're up to. So that was the woods at night. So here we are, woods during the day. And this is a simple setup. I just wanted to show some quick things here. Little fireflies added in post, Ingenuity engine, killing the game. Very fairy tale, Narnia, World of Warcraft looking elf imagery. Is Taylor Swift an elf here? That would make this cool for me. So let me do this for you. Here, we're going to nerd out for 2 seconds. What if she was a blood elf? You guys feel me? Do you know what a blood elf is if you're from World of Warcraft? If you're not, go check it out. This feels like a World of Warcraft reference to me. It's probably not. That's just the nerd coming out. But cool setup. Here's some settings. You know, a little bit of slow motion. That's probably, is that max on this 6K? Wow. Compression 5:1, really low compression. Why not? You can tell a little bit about the exposure level here. It's fairly down, though. There's still like some white back here. Dragon Color 2, Red Gamma 2. Is that what that is? Dragon Color 2. I've heard different things about what Dragon Color profile to shoot with. I just shoot with the newest one, but maybe that's not the best. And Dave Hussey would probably be the one to really understand those like little minutia differences. I don't really know. I'm not that sensitive to it. This is actually, I think that's a DJI Ronin. I was on set. I'm going to talk about this at the end. I was on set with Joseph Kahn and Chris Probst for the Blank Space music video, and I got to watch them work. And I'm pretty sure they're just using a DJI Ronin, so not a movie or anything. Like, not a knock on either one or whatever, but it's like, you know, Chris owns likely or has a DJI Ronin, and if you're wondering if you can use that kind of gimbal on a real shoot, here you go. You can with a red weapon. Pretty awesome. Joseph Kahn operates sometimes. He's director DP'd a bunch of commercials and music videos. Like, he shot back in the day a Kylie Minogue music video on the 5D Mark II, and he shot it himself because he knows what he's doing. But I think his collaboration with Chris is so strong that they can just kind of either Joseph's doing A cam or B cam, and that's a really good sign. I actually work with a couple directors that they operate as well, and it's a great thing to be able to let them do that. And here's kind of the thing: is like, I don't think JK is going to be doing like a hardcore steady cam or like a revolution arm, but the gimbals, man, once you get the hang of it, you know, it's kind of intuitive. So that's something for gimbals. And I kind of talk not down about gimbals, but like, I think everyone's like, oh, it's going to change the world, and I'm always like, no, it's not going to change the world. You know, most shots are static and blah blah blah. But here we are, actually, when I've been on set with Joseph Kahn and Chris, and I see this, I'm like, maybe the gimbals are going to change the world. I'm not sure. Just, I wanted to show some cool gimbal shots. People like gimbals. So there's your gimbal porn for the day. Moving on, this is kind of getting close to the end, so I think I'm doing okay with time. This sequence is interesting, so I want to talk about this one. This is Ingenuity engine at work here, a lot of it. But to start, we have, let's grab, this Wacom tablet. We have a warm source over here, which is at 18K, I believe. And then we have this cool ambient happening. And you'll see that this snow, which would normally be white when you're shooting it, is color corrected blue. So that would be grabbing the highlights and color correcting them blue. And once I get my tangent panel, I'm going to start doing some color correction content so that you guys can understand what I'm talking about. So yeah, cool palette. Again, pretty low contrast if you look at her eyes and in her hair. I like this frame. But there's stuff happening in this whole sequence. This is when she's like in the mountains, in the mountains, the cold mountains. They didn't actually shoot in the mountains, though they did shoot this in New Zealand. Did these like amazing like Icelandic, New Zealand, no, I can't think of the word. They did shoot New Zealand, really pretty vistas and all that, but they didn't shoot in the mountains, I don't think. Not with her in a dress like that when it's like, it'd be like -10 or something like that up there. This shot again, oops, I left the overlay on. This shot is not actually in the mountains here. It's not actually like a blizzard behind her. Joseph Kahn and Ingenuity's engines, their VFX are so good. I know some of them are a little bit cartoony or whatever, but I think that's like the style. But like, to me, I believe it. It's a little bit like Sin City-ish, but it's like it's stylized. You know, we're not going for like pure photorealism, but I love it, and I just am immersed in it, and I don't think about it, and I'm like, yeah, she's in the mountains, but she's not for our case. And the last frame from the actual video for this section is this. Really cool. I think she's at like the edge of the mountain here. She's like looking over the edge of the mountain, and like big old lens flare. I don't know what lens this is, but here's some chromatic aberration flare. So a little bit of rainbow action here. Adds a little bit of magic to this scene, a little bit of energy, and it's it's hilarious how they shot this. So here we go. Here's that shot. Here's the BTS of that shot. It's Hollywood, man. Here's our grip is blocking the lens flare also off of Joseph Kahn's face, but he's letting it hit the lens because we're going for that lens flare. Man, what are these lenses? I should have looked that up. Here's the the weapon dragon. I forget the delineation of all them, but here's a 4x4 bounce. So the sun's clearly coming from this direction. It's flaring us. You saw it in the shot. And yeah, so here's how you shoot an insert like that. Really clever. So here's something that's important that I wanted to talk about here. So this shot is this shot, basically. So we see this backlight happening 3/4. Up here is an 18K, first of all, or a 12K HMI. It doesn't look like it's really on, but it's potentially giving her this edge light. So say that it was, well, first of all, if you've never seen lighting a green screen with daylight, this is how you do it. Pretty obvious, but you set up the green screens outside, and they're kind of using the overcast day as the overall, like lighting the screen, lighting the floor, lighting her. And then you just add stronger lights over the ambient daylight. So it's like you're using the daylight like it was a bunch of space lights in a stage. And that's what they're doing here. And you get a lot of natural, free, clean spectrum lighting for big setups. Because lighting this up, like on a stage, it requires a lot of light. So you can do it outside here, and you get a lot of like natural lighting for free when you do it this way. And to add anything over the natural ambient daylight, you add big old HMIs. So edge light here. And then here's another shot. This bazooka looking thing here. Pretty sure that's for wind. So wind. Here's my wind drawing. And then this is like the montage at the end of the music video where things get kind of like montagey and chaotic. Before, in the middle of I'm going to keep drawing wind while I'm talking. Throughout the video, you kind of like stay in the woods, then you stay in the mountains, and by the end it gets all montagey and things are on fire and it's getting chaotic. And then we go from it being kind of like static in the beginning and gimbal smooth camera moves in the middle to just pure handheld. And there's a lot of just like rough handheld shots, and you just grab the camera. It looks pretty balanced actually. They got like an interesting kind of like center of gravity thing going on here. I don't know what this is. Maybe that's for like I think that's another fan. You throw stuff into it and debris comes flying out. This is a great drawing so far here. And here we have a little bit of bounce. And again, this is how they light outside. Not a lot of front fill needed necessarily with actual HMIs. So we have the sunlight coming from here, but then they have these bounces here. This is a big one big light source coming from that side. And then this one's a little bit closer for more of like an eye light and probably more of like a beauty thing going on there. So that is the exterior green screen for the mountains, not actually in the mountains. Sorry to say. So here is the last breakdown I'm going to do for this. I feel like I did okay on time, despite the Wacom tablet. Completely my fault. The Wacom tablet not behaving. This is my second favorite shot of the commercial, and people wanted to see more camera moves, and I love looking at camera moves, and this one just happened to be a cool shot with a cool behind the scenes. Eventually, I'm going to be making my breakdowns of the camera moves in 3D. Using my Cinematography software and stuff like that, so you guys could really see what's going on. But this one had such a good BTS, I'm just going to do it that way. So let's step through this shot. if you watch this shot in the music video, it's kind of confusing and wild, and you may not even pay attention to it. That's the thing with like JK videos, that there's so much happening. There's so many like incredible visuals that I really want to slow it down for you and show you what's going on so you can see it step by step. So first of all, here's a shot of Taylor Swift, and it's upside down. So that's cool. Mountains, skies up here, water's down there. So then what happens? The camera starts to move. So she's still upside down, but we're moving over her. And we reveal that there's a lot of water under her. This is when she's like being chased by the wolves, I think, and she's about to jump off. Spoiler. So now we've moved from behind her and upside down to straight overhead. And now we're going in front of her, coming more around in front of her, and then, yeah. So this is all visual effects, first of all, which is incredible. Incredible VFX. This is all green screen. That's a plate that they probably took from there. They shot a bunch of green screen plates of wolves. Y'all got added in post. You got comped in. Though they did a good job with the consistent backlighting. Flare, post, mountains, comped in. All green screen. So amazing job. Really good transition. I mean, there's a lot of motion blur, but this is a VFX awards for the music video industry Ingenuity Engine. You guys get it. Pretty cool. So let's talk about how they actually did this shot. So here we are. That same green screen lot. Oh yeah, see, this is a big fan over here. This guy. Oh my goodness, this Wacom. So sorry. So this is like a big fan, and we're outside again. We're backlit, and I think the bounce is over there still. And yeah, let's break this down. So here's the green screen. And what we don't see, well, let's see I'll talk about what we do see. We do see the crane up here, looking straight down. So that's at the point where we're here. But before that, that crane was over here, looking this way. The camera was looking that way. And what it's going to do is it's going to arc in front of her. And the camera's going to keep this consistent tilt is what would be happening to keep her in the frame. I'm going to clear this. So let's go through that. Camera's coming down. Camera comes down. We see a fixed length crane here. So this is not a techno crane. It doesn't telescope. You're actually kind of relying on this fixed radius to get around here. Then it comes in front of her, and then they probably cut. So I'm just going to add a quick layer here to be able to draw a note on this. And that's a cool shot. I do commercials sometimes where like all we do is that one shot, honestly. Like that's like the biggest thing we're doing that day. So that was really cool. Nice small camera package. This is funny enough, because they're in New Zealand maybe. This is a PowerPod, man. This is a PowerPod classic. This is an old school remote head, really old school. It's the one that Roger Deakins like personally owns and uses on everything. And that's interesting to me. I don't know. I would have thought that this would have been like a Libra or a Scorpio stabilized or something like that, or a Scorpio Mini. But they did a pretty old school with this big fixed length crane. I don't know what GS. This is a Giraffe 10. Is that what this crane is? I forget. On a PowerPod remote head. So that's cool. So that is a look at the cinematography of Taylor Swift out of the woods. Again, Joseph Kahn and Chris have been doing work that's inspired me since the beginning. I think like the making the video that I used to watch like all the time on repeat, I think it was in high school, was for Britney Spears' Toxic. She's in like a red jumpsuit on a plane, and it's kind of a similar kind of lighting to me. This is a little bit more natural because it's like out in the world, but it's a similar aesthetic, similar amount of visual effects in it. And Joseph Kahn and his type of imagery and this type of music video really got me into the industry. I really like it because I kind of half had an interest in VFX, half interest in real world shooting. And I think Joseph Kahn and Ingenuity Engine, they do a great job, and Chris, of course, do a great job of putting those things together. And it's really about like the story, and like it's like you almost draw it first and then you execute however that needs to be done. And I think he does a really good job of that. I was actually on set. So Chris and Joseph, if you guys watch this, I was actually on set for the Taylor Swift Blank Space 360 virtual reality shoot. I was part of the 360 crew. I did the tech scout for Radical. And then I was there for day one when they were doing the 360 shoot. So I was actually able to see Joseph and Chris doing the tech scout. And then I was there for the first part of the shoot at Oheka Castle. And it was really cool. And it gives me a lot of perspective when I look at this BTS of how quickly they move. And the thing that really impresses me is how many setups are in this music video. This isn't all the setups. I had to actually cut it down. There's a lot more. But these are the ones that I thought were interesting to talk about. I mean, they really cram in like a ton of setups into this music video, and that's incredible to me. Because it's not like they have a ton of time. I mean, these budgets are pretty good. They're not what you think they are. These are not feature film budgets or what they used to be in like the 90s. But because Joseph comes from that time when the budgets were big, he still thinks big, but executes probably just a little bit faster, a little bit slimmer. And I think he's doing amazing work, and I think people should really appreciate what Joseph Kahn and Chris Probst are doing in the music video and in the commercial space, but probably mostly in the music video space because they're doing so much. It's longer format and there's a lot of creative things happening. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'm just going to do a little promo for Cinedesigner. So Cinedesigner, I'm actually out of production with it as of recording this video. So all the assets are made in 3D to scale and then converted to 2D overhead graphics. And I'm starting to work on the marketing material now. It comes out March 1st. So I'm going to show you in this video right now. Here is the box art, kind of work in progress. And I found this nice 3D laptop to put a Photoshop interface into so you kind of get the idea. Here's a cool layout of the majority of the assets that come with Cinedesigner, at least the symbol library number 1. This took forever to put together. So look at it now and love it. And yeah, that's about it. So again, Cinedesigner comes out March 1st. Head over to cinedesigner.com and check that out. So thank you for watching this video. I really liked it. And, you know, when I started to put this together, I was like, I don't know how much there is to talk about, but that's what I realized. And I think that you guys might be starting to pick up on is that, like, you know, content, movies, TV, commercials, music video, all that stuff. It's like, there's so much content these days. And like, you could never catch up on it at this point. There's so much content, you could never really watch it all. And what I feel like that does is that it kind of like cheapens it in your mind. Even though the quality is so high, it's like there's so much of it. You don't have time to watch it. Like, do you watch things twice? When I was in high school, I would watch Britney Spears' Toxic. I'd watched it probably like 100 times. You know, when you really start to break it down, and then I would watch the behind the scenes making the video like a ton of times because that's all there was. There wasn't as much media now. So what I'm starting to appreciate in the Cinematography Database show, this format, exactly this breakdown, is that like you can kind of go back and you make the time and like you actually watch something again and you actually break it down. Because if you just watch something, you just watch new things back to back to back. It's like new commercial, music video. It's like you don't really have time to take it in. So you feel like you're like learning. Like if you consider that you think that it's like learning to go watch like 10 movies or go watch all the new music videos, but then you don't watch them again. You don't really break it down. Like I really question how much you're able to internalize and learn from that if you don't go back and do that. And I've been learning that on this series that like, you know, I watched this music video when it came out. I was like, oh, that's what the red weapon looks like. Cool, done. But then I go back and I look at it again, frame by frame, look at the BTS, think about the coloring. I'm going to hopefully talk to Dave in the future about the coloring that went into this. And it's like, we kind of need this time. And it's kind of, I feel like it's cool that I can kind of pick a project a week and just like, and hopefully you get value from this, is that like, you know, this is really looking at this piece of work and appreciating it and trying to actually internalize and learn from it versus just watching a ton of stuff and forgetting all of it instantly. So that's just like my what I've kind of been learning by making these breakdown videos. I mean, I am going to try to do these or at least release them every Monday as much as I can. And if you liked it, you know, like the video, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And yeah, really cool video. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks for watching. Bye.